Yeah, I'm Dr. Roslyn Apuari Ranta, the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs, Rivers State. Why we are meeting here today is for the gender policy validation, and it is very important to government. This particular non-governmental agency come up to bring down this policy for the state level, the way it will suit our state.
How we started and the current stage where we're currently at. So this is more like the second phase of the project. We started this project before the 2023 elections, and our main focus was community members building their capacity to be able to advocate for change. And we're also able to include persons with disability, that is a set that have been disadvantaged when it comes to development in the states as a whole. And so for this particular project, what we focused on was to ensure that they were registered and belonged to different political parties of their choice. And from the first phase, we're able to get 68% of 298 persons who actually registered and belonged to different political parties of their choice at the grassroots level. And then for persons with disability, we're also able to empower them to own the process. So they were able to go out on election day and also mobilize. The main aim of us holding that particular intervention was to see how to galvanize support from the bottom to the top. And then for this second phase, which is the DASI project, is a continuation, but right now we're focused at delivery. So we're looking at the supply side, and our major goal is to see how we can push for a more accountable and inclusive governance in Rivers State. So for this particular phase, we are also elevating our community champions that we tag the WIO ambassadors, and also working closely with government agencies. So for example, the reason why we're gathered here is part of why we put together this second phase of the project. And it is to see how we can actually articulate some of all the very, very notable ideas that we have and see how people can run with it. We have a lot of policies, but sometimes the issue is implementation. And then again, at the community level, a challenge is how to disseminate information. So a lot of times we have very wonderful laws, we have wonderful policies, but you don't get that buy-in at the community level. So for example, we have the female inheritance law, but if you go to rural communities and you ask them if they are aware about it, a lot of women will tell you they are not aware about such law. And then with our very wonderful team, we're able to put together people who can look holistically at policies. And again, we also made reference to the National Gender Policy. And we're able to put together a very, very robust draft. And again, just to also reiterate what Barrister Debbie mentioned, we really want to thank the Commissioner because she has been with us from day one. She's been very, very committed. She owns this process, which is what we want to see governments do, to own the process to the last letter. And so we're able to pool resources, review different documents, and put together what is going to be presented here today, as a validation exercise. And we'll also be able to hear from experts in the room. If you have contributions, we'll also be able to go back to that document, touch it on, and officially hand it over to the Ministry of Women Affairs to follow up with the Executive Governor of the state. We want to see this policy adopted and running. So again, for intervention agencies, for donor agencies, sometimes they cannot come in until they see policies that are working. And so we've been working behind the scenes to see how we can bring together a policy that is holistic, that is robust, and that will be adopted in the states, so that based on that, we can then begin to look at the different thematic areas that we are trying to pursue. So for example, some focal area that was captured in the policy that we'll get into very shortly. We're looking at gender mainstreaming across board. So for example, in the health sector, how is gender mainstreamed? When you talk about legal documents, policy frameworks, how is gender mainstreamed? When you talk about the social sector, how is gender mainstreamed? So all of these issues is what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be projecting and also hearing from experts today. We want to see this document as something that will be adopted and as an action plan. It is validated today. We take back some of your feedback, incorporate it into the document, and then officially hand it over to the Ministry of Women Affairs. Again, we're not just letting go, but we're also going to be working hand in hand with the ministry to see that at the end of the day, this document is adopted and it is running in the state and sets the ball rolling for greater interventions that would focus on gender in Rivers State. So thank you once again for being a part of this engagement, and we ask that it is as participatory as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Laura Seri, I am the Senior Project Officer of the Governance Pillar for Stakeholder Democracy Network, SDN. So today we are holding the validation workshop for the gender policy, and this is something we started last year in 2023. We're able to pull key members into a room from the Ministry of Justice and of course the Ministry of Women Affairs. We're able to review documents. We're also able to review the National Gender Policy, which was amended in 2023, and we adapted it to the Rivers context. So for us, we need a workable policy that can be implemented, and then that would also be pushed or amplified to local communities. And for us, today serves as a very, very important day that would ensure that this document that we've been able to pull together, with resource persons is validated, and then would have like a final document that would then present to the Ministry of Women Affairs, who would then take it further and discuss with the Executive Governor of Rivers State and of course the Executive Council, so that they can adopt it as a working document. And we also should understand the importance of the policy, the gender policy. It opens doors for development, for other interventionist agencies to come in, for donor agencies to come in to see different sectors that they can cover. So for example, a run-through of the gender policy covers both the political and legal frameworks as it affects women, men, boys and girls. So for us, the focus is about gender mainstreaming across board, and we've been doing this in partnership with other civil society organizations in Rivers State, like Alive, like GADA, and of course the media. So it is a concerted effort that SDN is pioneering, and this is one of its kind, and we're hoping to continue this relationship with the Ministry of Women Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For me, it's a commitment to society, and I must commend the Commissioner for Women Affairs for piloting this to fruition. If she was not cooperative, no matter how you work, no matter what you do, you will not feel complete because you don't have her buy-in. You have her buy-in and the buy-in of other stakeholders, and I'm sure that this policy will not fail. It will stand the test of time. We have Ministry of Finance here, right? Budget and planning. Beautiful. Because that's where we always fail. Implementation. We can judge all here from now to tomorrow. But if it does not have budgetary lines, right, the implementation will not be smooth. We'll keep speaking the grammar, citing the laws, citing the policy and its importance, and it will not be put to fruition. That's one. Then two, the Honorable Commissioner, I know, will take everything we've done to His Excellency the Governor of Rivers State, so that he will know what the new gender policy is at the end of all these discussions. Because that would also help for it to be implemented in various spheres of governance. I'm very, very happy to be here. Even though David didn't tell me I was going to make any comments. But I'm happy to make the comments I've made. And I want to say to all the stakeholders here present, to give it their best, make all your contributions. It doesn't matter whether it agrees with what the policy is or not. Raise it so that we look at it, we juxtapose with what we have, and ensure that what we have will stand the test of time. Thank you very much. God bless you, and I wish you a happy celebration.
I greet you all. This is a keynote address by the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs, Rivers State, Dr. Roselyn Apoare-Yoranta, at Gender Policy Validation Meeting that is holding here at Women Development and Skills Acquisition Center, WDSAC. I must not fail to appreciate my principal, His Excellency Sir Siminalayi Fubara, GSS ROS, the Governor of Rivers State, and his wife, Lady Vero Fubara, the Deputy Governor, Her Excellency Professor Mrs. Ngozi Mma-Odo, for giving me the platform which empowers me to stand before you today in this capacity. Gathering here today for this gender policy validation meeting is a sign of progression, judging from the issues that were critically looked into at the last meeting held at Isak Arena Hotel, Port Harcourt, on 8th December 2023. Everyone here who was a participant of that meeting can attest to the fact that the discourses were detailed and really elaborate. Contextually and according to Oxford Dictionary, gender refers to the socially constructed roles, behaviors, expressions, and identities of girls, women, boys, men, and gender diverse people. This gender policy validation meeting is aimed at bringing the national gender policy to suit the Rivers State context with the intent of drafting Rivers State gender policy document to bring about gender mainstreaming in legislative, economic, agricultural, political, and as well as human development reforms for all gender. The Ministry of Women Affairs mandate is to ensure the protection and welfare of women and children. But our collective motion here is for fairness to all gender. I am glad to be part of this meeting, as inhumanity is something that should be abhorred for all gender, and a good life is beneficial to everyone. I thank all my colleagues here present, and I especially appreciate all the key actors of this meeting, such as Arise for Gender and Livelihoods Initiative, Gender Advocacy Network, Gender and Development Action, Federation of Female Lawyers Association, Rivers State Ministry of Justice, Rivers State Ministry of Women Affairs, and other concerned bodies. I wish us all a peaceful and a impactful meeting. Thanks, and God bless you. There's always a series of policies. Before you bring up something like a Ministry of Women Affairs, gender is something that concerns men, women, boys, and all the vulnerables. For that, there should be policy that follows, but we keep having some amendments, some increase. There might be something that you have missed, which in the course of research, you got some information to build it. So there has been existing policies.
Okay. Before we let you go, finally, ma'am.
Yeah.
What are we going to be seeing from Honorable Uranta with regards to the protection and the advancement of the rights of women, or females, or ladies in this particular dispensation? Because, of course, the feeling is that women tend to have the shorter end of the stick. So, as the commissioner in this very sensitive ministry, what are you going to be bringing to the table?
Well, the women are there. We're always there, and the government is not putting their eyes out of women. They're always there to help. What I will advise our women is that they should keep pushing forward, learn more skills, and continue to grow, because government is there to help them, to sponsor them in all aspects. If you check in our governance, there are women in various areas. In our state, we have all the various local governments. The deputy chairmen are women. If you go to the legislature, you have women. If you come inside the executive council of the state, we have women. So they are not left out. They are being carried along, but them too, those of them that have not met up the standard should grow more. So for us to push forward.
I am a women's rights advocate, and we are partnering with STN on this DASI project. DASI stands for Deepening Accountability and Strengthening Inclusion in the Niger Delta. And this project basically addresses the issues of inclusivity in governance. And some of the vulnerable groups that we have, the women constitute the larger percentage of vulnerable persons. And because women constitute the greater percentage of vulnerable persons, we have felt the need to push for a gender policy that will be addressing the issues of women's participation in the political space. So this project is important to us as women in the state, and then we also want to see Rivers State do better. Rivers State is trying, but they can do better than where we are. than where we are. There's a whole lot of gender push within the state, but it can be better. And we want a document that can guarantee that. That is basically what we are doing here. And then what we wouldn't want to be mistaken is that gender is not just women. Gender has to do with men and women. So this policy is addressing, where the men are lacking and also where the women are lacking. All vulnerable groups, we are taking into consideration the PWDs, persons living with disability. We are also taking into consideration the issues of repressive tax regimes, because these are some of the things that also affect the local economy. This is part of what DASE is addressing within Rivers State. So this is a robust engagement, and we are putting this right at the doorstep of the Ministry of Women Affairs, because they are the mother agency when it comes to women's issues. And we would want the Women Affairs to drive these discussions and upscale these discussions to the level of the executive, the legislature. And if we have this at the national level, why not Rivers State? That is basically why we are meeting. Thank you.
Because the CBN has that financial inclusion project that they are working on. I think it's part of the steering committee. The financial inclusion is supposed to be give opportunity for more women to get loans. And I think secondly, when we are talking about access to alternative energy, Madam Vivian, sorry, we are talking about access to alternative energy for businesses, MSMEs. I think that there's an opportunity there for the state ministry. I don't know if we have a Ministry of Power. We do. We have a Ministry of Power. The power has been removed from the exclusive list. It's in the concurrent list where state governments can now work on power generation and transmission. Individual, the private sector can do that. So I think we can expand that place, add the Ministry of Power, of course, add private sector people that want to invest in power and transmission and generation in that place. And then also,
in a world where you have over 25 different kinds of genders, I want us to concern ourselves with the biological male and female in this discourse. And therefore, I'm going to be talking about man and woman and how the two of them can be mainstreamed into whatever thought process of development that the government of the state has in stock. So for the women, we've been before now demanding 35%, but let's also consider that everywhere you put women, you put children and young people. So we deserve much more than 35%. So it should be at 35% and the 35% that belongs to young people and children, because you must, whether you like it or not, mainstream them into the development plan of any place where you live. Why? Because they make up whatever indices you're projecting, whatever number of people, population that you are projecting, they are part of that number. So ensuring that they are part of the system, both in service delivery and in receiving, is very important to us. So we're here to discuss it. Good thing, government is here. You know, they're used to just attending opening and disappearing. But being here during the discussion is a breath of, life. It means that somebody is ready to talk and walk the talk. So.
Okay, so quickly, in a similar vein, because you operate in the political space, there have been accusations that women don't usually, the older women, don't usually hold the ladder for the younger ones in that space. So we have more godfathers than godmothers. How would you respond to that?
Okay, so let's put it this way. You know that victims mentality thing where they tell you women don't work well with women don't support women. It's what the oppressor uses in further dehumanizing the oppressed. So we hear that because women want you to work. They want you to do the work. They don't think that they can just sleep and wake up. Even amongst their children, it's the child who does more that receives more. That's how how women operate. That's how they are wired. They're wired as nurturers. So they want to nurture somebody who's willing to be nurtured. Not just pick anybody who does goosebumps for you. You now say, okay, this is the next person. No, women don't do that. And if that is what they're expecting women to do, igote. Because we don't do that. We're not wired for that. But we're wired to support your growth. We're wired to support your projects. We're wired to help you become who you want to become, but not through the back door. Women won't open the back door. Use the front or get the hell back home.
Thank you very much.
Other grants, even agriculture, women are excluded. They don't get their dues. So we have to address that. And since there's a national gender policy, we will not work in isolation.
Okay, but I'm hearing you cultural skills. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So, no, if you look at what the targets are, which I was trying to read them because of time, we're just trying to be as fast as we can. These targets you must look at them and determine who can play a role in achieving this target. Reviewed labor policies. Are you seeing it? Increased access to affordable and reliable renewable energy sources for those SMEs. Expanded base of the private sector-based service provider. I was thinking that somebody was going to call another body here. I won't call their name. So I want everybody to participate. When you talk of expanded base for private sector service providers, which body should be an action team here? Elimination of sex segregation in labor
CBN, Port Harcourt branch, or CBN, whatever, has a steering committee, and that steering committee is chaired by whosoever heads the CBN here. And they are giving loans to women in various areas. Do you know the beauty of this? Because this thing goes to your phone, you don't know who is a beneficiary. We went into this thing and we were shocked to know the number of beneficiaries. Most of them are beneficiaries. And you know, they will not come direct. They go through the commercial banks and the microfinance to give the loans. And for what purpose and all, what they are giving. And in short, it's a World Bank project.
So let's note that, please. Rapporteurs, not CBN. Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Women Affairs. We are not talking about the Ministry of Women Affairs. I'm we are in a gender, as I don't know, I'm serious. We are in a gender policy. And the men are here since. No man has stood here to talk. Women, talking. Okay, so, I want the men to talk. Sorry, my sister. Hello. When we talk about women affairs, we are talking about a ministry that is already existing. We are not creating a men affairs ministry here by this policy. I know you just acts of violence, dimensions of vulnerability in the context of displacement and involuntary migration, including trafficking, and how the proliferation of small arms that affects women's social and physical security is dealt with. So that's a target that we have under this head. Many other ones are there. Time will fail me to read all of them. But if we look at the ministries we've listed to be the action parties, we have women affairs, we have social welfare, we have finance, we have budget and planning, we have CSOs, NGOs, sorry, it's wrongly spelled. But I think strongly that at this point, my ministry should be here.
House, let's go for the ceremony. You know, we are in the 21st century, and while we were busy looking for paper cups, here is the soft copy of the document that you have this document now. So you have been given this document, and it is this document now that on behalf of this three-man committee, on behalf of Lansing, Grace, I hand over this
Okay, she'll come out. Thanks for the yes. So on behalf of three of us, John thank you for the opportunity. We hope that this is just the beginning of the journey to greater happiness.
Thank you so much to our team. Okay, so before I move on to the commissioner, have we all agreed that this document is something that can be adopted and moved to the next level? Yes. Yes. The guys have it? Yes. All right. Okay, so Honorable Commissioner Ma, on behalf of SDN, on behalf of the team, Allied, GADA, and our consultants and partners, I present to you the Rivers State Gender Policy.
So much, everyone here. Our main facilitator, Barrister Mrs. Flores, and yes, and her team that has put all these things together and bring people to make inputs. I believe even in my absence, many of you have something to contribute to this. Yes. So that we from here move it forward. It has not ended with Ministry of Women Affairs. We are only a tool to forward this. We go back to our office as a ministry and do the formal processes before we can forward it to the appropriate order. That is what we have to do. Thank you so much for coming for this wonderful occasion. And I urge every one of us, we have so many facilities in here, which you have been here, and you have seen, always assist and support this movement. Thank you as you go to your various areas. We have now to do. Thank you.
Please clap again. The Ministry of Women Affairs. Kudos to the Ministry of Justice. Kudos to all the 9 ministries here, all the stakeholders here. Please clap for yourselves now. We are going to thank all of you for your time, for your active participation from morning up until this time. How can I forget to thank our Honorable Commissioner, Ma? We want to thank you. And I think I should say this. I recall the first time we visited you, we paid a courtesy visit to you, and you said yes to us. We are here making this much progress because you said yes to us. And so we want to thank you for your time. We want to thank you for your support. Let's put hands together for our engagement. Very especially, I wish to also thank Mrs. Amiesimaka. I know the first time we met, she introduced herself as a grandmother. And in all ramifications, she's a grandmother. But a grandmother with a difference. Because it's not every grandma that will leave her grandchildren and dedicate this much time, make this much input in this work. We appreciate you, ma. Thank you so much. I also mentioned that in the course of our work, she gave us a space. It was not sponsored by SDN. She refreshed the team. It takes only a loving grandma to do that. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And she's a brain box, trust me. We will start to work from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and she's still up on her feet. Thank you, ma. Put your hands together. And I'm very grateful. We are thankful to all of you. I'm tempted to carry the participants list and read your name through one by one to say a very big thank you. That's the amount of gratitude we have in our hearts towards you and the work that you have done today. Thank you so much. Let's put hands together for ourselves. I was super excited when I saw Hilda Dokubo in the building. This is the beauty of having people from different fields and sectors. This is why it is called multi-stakeholder engagement. We will not leave these engagements today. We will not just detach from it today. We will take it to our various little corners to see how we will be able to have a document that can actually speak to the needs of the people. That by the time we look at the content of the policy, it will find full expression in the life of women and as regards development. So thank you so much. On housekeeping, I want to be sure that you've all written your names and your account details are correct. We would hand over everything to our finance department. Energy is business. Put your hands together. You see, on this policy issue, Mrs. Ely can stand for 48 hours non-stop.